President Trump seems to be ignoring the judge's request to avoid any inflammatory remarks about his case after his arrest.
In a very campaign-like speech at Mar-a-Lago last night, he took aim at the judge and his family, seemingly airing out all of his grievances to a packed MAGA crowd.
Morgan Mackay here now with his remarks and if they could have any repercussions moving forward. Morgan.
Stephen, Natasha, former President Donald Trump, in his own words, described yesterday as surreal. But it took him just 6 hours to ignore a warning from the judge to tone down his rhetoric, attacking the district attorney, the judge, and the judge's family.
A local failed district attorney.
Taking to the stage at a rally in Mar-a-Lago, former President Donald Trump didn't hold back his criticism of the justice system shortly after pleading not guilty to 34 felony counts.
I have a Trump-hating judge with a Trump-hating wife and family whose daughter worked for Kamala Harris and now receives money from the Biden-Harris campaign.
But just 6 hours earlier, Judge Juan Merchan directed a warning at both sides, saying they needed to refrain from making comments that have the potential to incite violence, create civil unrest, or jeopardize the safety of any individuals. Trump's lawyer, Joe Tacopina, argued that Trump's comments at the rally was just a former president exercising his freedom of speech.
That's his opinion. He's entitled to it, but he certainly didn't say or post anything that would be in violation of the judge's request.
Trump is being charged with 34 counts of filing false business records in the first degree. Prosecutors allege that Trump concealed hush money payments by falsely labeling these transactions as legal expenses. Falsifying business records are usually only a misdemeanor, but the district attorney's office says he did so to hide damaging information from the voting public during the 2016 election, elevating these charges to a felony.
The participant scheme was illegal. The scheme violated New York election law, which makes it a crime to conspire to promote a candidacy by unlawful means.
In light of Trump's rhetoric on social media, prosecutors and Trump's legal team are hashing out what's called a protective order. This would prohibit Trump from sharing or posting any sensitive information from the discovery process. Jeremy Saland, a former assistant district attorney, says that if Trump were to violate such an order,
that's an A misdemeanor. It's punishable by up to a year in jail. That would be a separate offense, a separate criminal action that the former president would have to deal with.
Now, Trump posted on social media today calling on Republicans in Congress to slash funding for the U.S. Justice Department and the FBI. He also says he wants this case moved out of Manhattan to another section of New York, preferably Staten Island, which is considerably more conservative. Trump's attorneys are also planning to file a motion to have the case dismissed. Steve, Natasha.
All right, Morgan, thank you.